Thank you, Shri Vipul. Thank you for joining us on Pulse 95. We're speaking to the Consul General of India.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
It's an absolute. Now, on the 26th of January, Indians will be celebrating their 70th Indian Republic Day. Talk to us about the significance of this event, especially for the Indian community members that live here in the United Arab Emirates.
Well, it's a very significant day for us. It's one of our two national days, the other one being 15th of August. This is the day when the Constitution of India was brought into force in 1950, and therefore this day we celebrate both what we have achieved in the last 7 decades, and we also remember the sacrifices of the heroes of our national movement, and we have, I think, lots to celebrate. India has done very well in the last 7 decades. And I think that is most seen if you go abroad. The UAE will be one of the countries where it's seen in such a grand manner, with the Indian community being so successful and so large in UAE. So I think for us it holds special significance in the UAE, in Dubai and in Sharjah. We have very successful Indian businessmen here, Indian professionals, Indian workers who have helped build UAE, and therefore I think the Indian community celebrates the Republic Day in such a befitting manner, in a festive manner every year. So I feel very happy when Republic Day comes here.
Exactly. Now, speaking of cultural ties as well, we know that Sharjah as an emirate was the guest of honor at the recently concluded New Delhi Book Fair. We've had numerous visits by His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, member of the Supreme Council and ruler of Sharjah. So talk to us about the relationship between Sharjah as an emirate and India.
Well, it's a very strong relationship. There are lots of people who live in the Emirate of Sharjah, Indian people who live in the Emirate of Sharjah, and these relations, I think, get seen in various cultural activities every year. In Sharjah Book Fair, I think India and Indians are the most seen, and from a popular culture perspective, a lot of cultural events keep happening in Sharjah. There is a lot of exchange, especially between Sharjah and our state of Kerala, because there are a lot of Keralites who live in Sharjah, and we were really fortunate that Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, His Highness, the ruler of Sharjah, was visiting India in 2017. It was a very successful visit, and all his gestures were very, very well appreciated in India and by the Indian community here. So of course it's a very strong relationship once more, and I feel very happy whenever I go to Sharjah. I think I go to Sharjah almost every fortnight, and of course His Highness himself studied in India, and therefore he has that soft corner towards India, and we feel very happy. For example, when I and Ambassador, we together went and called on His Highness, he was talking about all his experiences, and we feel very happy, very connected with the Emirate of Sharjah, and I think including the participation of Sharjah in New Delhi Book Fair, I certainly hope that in the years to come, in the months to come, we will continue to have this very strong exchange with Sharjah.
No, that's something certainly to look forward to. Now, the purpose of our interview is also to discuss and get to know the Consul General of India for our listeners who are from India as well. So now you like to call yourself as Shri Vipul. You'd like to be addressed as Vipul.
Yes.
So there's no last name there. There's no formality.
Right. Yes.
Talk to us about the purpose of this.
There is no specific reason,
Okay.
but you will certainly find a few people in India who use only one name.
Yes.
Sometimes when you are traveling abroad, you see only one name in the passport, you can land into trouble. But overall, I think my experience has always been very positive. And as I said, when you are friends with someone, you call them by first name.
Yes.
So I would say that, okay, I'm friendly with everyone, so you can call me by my first name, because I only use one.
Exactly. Now, we've seen a few changes in the consulates, such as the events such as the open house.
Yes.
Tell us about this, the 13th open house that we're expecting very shortly.
That's right.
Talk to us about the idea of open house, who came up with it, and why is it so important?
Well, it's very important because, as I said, we have a very huge population in UAE, and a large majority of that population is essentially Indian workers who work in various sectors. and from time to time there will always be some issue that they will face, because they're working in small companies, big companies, and there will always be some issue, whether related to their visas, whether related to their labor contracts, their passports, other things. A lot of Indians also come here to UAE on visit visas, hoping that they will suddenly find a great job, and sometimes land into trouble, sometimes only because of their aspirations. So we thought that for some of these workers it becomes very difficult to come to the consulate on a working day, because they will have to take one day off. So we started doing this open house on the last Friday of every month, so that they will not have to take any vacation, any holiday, and they can come to the consulate. And in the consulate they will have access to every senior official. We all sit in the same hall on that particular day for the open house, and there are also community volunteers who are there. We also have 1 or 2 lawyers who come and assist us. So someone who comes for the open house can get our advice, community's advice, lawyers' advice, all at one place, and then they can further follow up with us on a normal day, and so that their issues get resolved. I think we have been fairly successful in open house, which we started on January 26 last year.
Right.
So we did 12 open houses last year, and we would have extended help to almost 800 people who came for the open house. 2 of those were very large numbers, because we got a group of 200 people coming during the amnesty at one go. We had, I think, 50 or 100 people coming for another problem. All of them were facing the same issue. But even otherwise, we got about 500 people in these 12 open houses. And after that, we follow up with a community volunteers meeting, so that we can remain connected. We can tell them about the activities and the initiatives of the consulate, and the community can also tell us as to what course correction or new things that we should be doing. So that is the idea, and I think we have done well on that count.
That's remarkable for sure. Now, I have to give you some credit for that as well. So 12 sessions that you've hosted over here, and you've become a role model for a lot of Indian citizens and expats that live here. I'll do a bit of a careers question. I think that's very important. Now, you're a graduate, I understand, of mechanical engineering. Then you got a master's in business. But you still, you moved on to foreign service. What is the role of a foreign service, and how does one become and be a part of the Ministry of External Affairs?
Well, I think for a lot of Indians, civil services remains a career of choice.
Yes.
Because there is so much that you can do for society and for the country, and certainly that is always the main thing for any aspiring diplomat. You would join foreign service only if you want to represent the country abroad and serve the country in a good capacity. And I think a lot of people want this career option. I was fortunate that I qualified in the exam. But the way to go about doing it is to appear in the civil services exam of India, and that takes place every year. You have to do 3 rounds. One is preliminary, one is mains, one is the interview part of it. And if you do well in that exam, you can opt for civil services, including the foreign service. And I think your focus should be on general knowledge, international relations, and also one subject of your choice. And after that, you have a magnificent career in foreign service awaiting you. So I would really encourage through your show that people should look at this career option very, very seriously. It's a wonderful career, and I think the opportunities that you get to see the world, to meet with top leaders, to serve the community, and to serve on international relations, I don't think you get in any other
exactly
career.
Well, the exposure is incredible as well. So lastly, to conclude, what new developments can we see from the Indian consulate and any events going ahead in particular? We do know we have the open house, but what more can we see in terms of an improved and enhanced role of the Indian consulate?
Well, our effort will remain on two major aspects. One is how to promote India-UAE relations, especially on trade and investment side. So we'll continue our work on that side. And then other, of course, is to render our services as efficiently, as transparently to the Indian community and to the visa seekers and others who come to us. So that will remain our focus, and we'll do everything to improve our services, to do better as we can. But this year specifically, we are also celebrating the 150th year of Mahatma Gandhi's birthday. We are also celebrating 550th year of Guru Nanak Ji's anniversary, birth anniversary. And both these leaders, both Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Mahatma Gandhi, both of them always talked about peace, humanity, insaniyat, and I think it's a great coincidence that UAE has also declared 2019 as the year of tolerance. So I think there will be a lot of focus this year from our side on the spirit of tolerance, which was what was taught by the Indian leaders, and which is the focus for UAE. I think together we'll be able to showcase this year as a great year for tolerance, which is what both India and UAE want.
True, that's very true. Now, Shri Vipul, it was a pleasure, an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and thank you for joining us on Pulse 95, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.